Hello, writers. This is Lee Jessup, career coach for emerging and professional screenwriters, as well as adjunct screenwriting professor for the David Lynch grad program for cinematic studies. Today, I wanted to talk about the TV contraction that we hear all about. Maybe explain it a little bit, give you some context on where we are in it, because if you're listening to the industry, if you're talking to people, you're hearing about TV's contracting, TV's changed, it's not what it was, what is it going to be? So I wanted to break it down a little bit, give you some data, some information, so that you have context and understanding on what is happening as it's happening right now. Of course, I'm going to note this is recorded in December of 2024. Things always change, so this video is true for this time. Nobody can predict the future, though we'll make some guesses. So I just wanted to make sure that we know when this is recorded and understand the context in which it's presented. And so let's dive in. So we are currently experiencing what everybody is attesting to be a contraction in the TV space. I want to talk about what brought us here and where it's going, because ultimately this contraction is a result of the period known as peak TV, right? Peak TV was a period of unprecedented growth in the TV sector. And we really see it as a period of time that ran from about 2013 to 2023, about 10 years in which we made more and more and more content. Now, one of the things that happened during this time, and I'm specifically speaking to episodic content here, is that Netflix launched and Amazon Prime launched and Apple TV Plus launched and all the things, Hulu and Peacock and Paramount, and it was a period of growth where more and more competitors were coming into the scripted space, trying to get eyeballs, trying to get loyal viewers, trying to get those subscription fees paid month after month. And so everybody was launching their content, their best attempt at getting the viewer interest and keeping their viewer interest. And we're able to do that somewhat successfully to varying degrees. I mean, we know some have done great and some not so much. Through this 10-year period that really took us to producing hundreds and hundreds of scripted television shows during this period. Now, doesn't mean that there weren't changes before it or outside of it, and while this was happening. So while this was happening, while the streamers showed up, the Netflix, Amazon, Apples of the world, what we saw was contraction already in the broadcast side. So NBC, ABC, Fox, and CBS started making less and less episodic content year over year because they didn't have the viewership for it. Then around 2017, we also started seeing shows on true kind of cable as we knew and loved it to start contracting as well. But our numbers overall were going up during this period of peak TV, 2013 to 2023. The first sign of kind of real trouble was 2022 when Netflix announced for the first time that it dropped the number of subscribers from its services rather than increase as they had done quarter to quarter. That was kind of the first sign of alarm of like, something's going to change. Then, of course, we went into the writer's strike in 2023. But for the record, there was already a slowdown in the creation of content, of original scripted episodic content because of conservatism, right? Ultimately, we look at Netflix, we look at them being the leader of the space. And at a time they were, and I think it's still mostly true today, supplying about 40% of the SVOD episodic program, SVOD being special video on demand is the word that I was trying to get out, and there it is. So they were supplying the lion's share. Others are trying to compete. And so as this loss of subscriptions happened, followed by the strike, the behavior in the industry was a slowdown and kind of more hesitant purchasing. What we're seeing as a result from that, and this started pre-strike, was ultimately less shows being produced by the big producers. We are also seeing a change in what is being produced. So we're seeing less limited series. Limited series are appealing only for the reason that you can get big talent to commit to one season of TV and not multiples. But we're seeing more of these SVOD channels looking for longer relationships with their viewers, and because of that, potentially looking to increase episode numbers per season, looking for content that can be more 4 quadrants. So I think shows like The Jackal and Black Doves that just came out are great examples of that. Shrinking does really well with that as well. We are seeing more kind of look towards potential IP for television, but we'll see where that goes. But I think at the end of the day, while this contraction is difficult and this video is going long because of it, so I hope you're bearing with me, the good news about this contraction and the result of it is that ultimately, if Netflix is pulling back, that means other buyers have a shot at becoming more dominant in the space. And over time, we are hoping to see more growth from the Peacocks, the Paramounts, the FXs of the world as we go along. Of course, time will tell. We are now recovering from this contraction. Everything in this industry is cyclical. And so we do expect to see an expansion there to some degree. Again, we're not expecting to see the kind of astronomical numbers of 2022, early 2023, even though 2023 already had a drop in it. But we're expecting it to settle. And I can tell you that my writers are out there pitching shows to buyers in the professional space. So I'm certainly not thinking that we're going to make less shows. We are going to make as many and more shows than we're seeing right now, which is always exciting. All right. I hope you guys like this long video, and I apologize for its length, but clearly not a simple topic. Keep following, subscribe if you find it helpful, and hopefully we'll connect soon. Bye.